She left him because he was just a poor teacher. But 3 years later, she was shocked to see him standing beside her best friend, wealthy, powerful, and on his way to becoming a billionaire. Was it karma, or the crown she refused to see? Sit back and find out in this unforgettable story. In the heart of Lagos, Olivia sat in her corner office overlooking the bustling city. 3 years had passed since she made the biggest decision of her life. She had left Daniel, her husband of 2 years, because his dreams seemed too small for her big city ambitions. Daniel was a teacher at a local primary school in Surulere. Every morning, he would wake up excited about his students, talking about how education could change Nigeria. But Olivia saw only the small salary, the old textbooks, and the cramped classroom. She wanted designer bags, not chalk dust on her clothes, so she divorced Daniel and married Richard, a wealthy oil executive who lived in Ikoyi. Richard could buy her anything she wanted. Their house had marble floors, a swimming pool, and 3 cars in the driveway. To everyone who knew her, Olivia had won the game of life. But winning felt strange. Richard spent long days buried in work and barely spoke to her when he came home. Their conversations revolved around bills, social events, and nothing that made her heart beat faster. The luxury felt cold, like living in a beautiful museum where she could look but never truly belong. One quiet Thursday afternoon, as Olivia reviewed contracts in her air-conditioned office, her phone buzzed. Her sister Maya had sent a WhatsApp message from London. "Sister, you must watch this video. A Nigerian teacher's wedding is going viral. It's so beautiful and inspiring." Olivia rolled her eyes. Maya was always emotional about romantic stories, but something made her click the link anyway. The video loaded, and Olivia's world seemed to pause. Traditional drums echoed, and colorful Nigerian fabrics swirled across the screen. The bride wore a stunning white and gold galo, the most beautiful Olivia had ever seen. The groom, dressed in his agbada, smiled as if he had just won the lottery. But the groom was Daniel. Her Daniel, her ex-husband. The coffee cup slipped from Olivia's hand, hot liquid spreading across her polished desk. Her fingers trembled as she watched the man she once dismissed as unambitious, now being celebrated by hundreds. Then the camera moved to the bride's face, and Olivia's heart shattered. Lucy, her former best friend, her maid of honor at her first wedding, the same woman who had once brought her ice cream when she wept through the divorce. Now Lucy glowed with happiness, her hands resting gently on the curve of her belly, revealing she was expecting a baby. The video had already gathered over 4 million views, with comments streaming in from around the world. True love always wins. From village teacher to education hero, Lucy is the luckiest woman alive. Lucky. The word cut through Olivia like a knife, because once she had been the lucky one, and she had thrown it all away. Olivia couldn't stop watching. She clicked on every link, read every article, and replayed every interview. What she discovered made her stomach twist with regret. Daniel was no longer just a simple teacher. He had built something extraordinary. The Hope Academy Foundation now operated nationwide, providing free education to more than 50,000 children. International organizations invited him to speak at conferences in South Africa and London. A major news station had even named him one of Africa's rising stars in education. What hurt most was seeing Lucy in every photo, every video, every accomplishment. She wasn't just Daniel's wife, she was his partner in changing the world. Where Olivia had once dismissed Daniel's dreams, Lucy had stayed up with him, drafting grant proposals late into the night. Where Olivia complained about their small apartment, Lucy was beside him, painting classrooms and organizing fundraising events. The timeline was painfully clear. 3 years ago, when Olivia walked away from Daniel, Lucy had stepped in, not to steal him, but to believe in him. She invested her savings to help launch the foundation. She left her comfortable bank job to work alongside him full-time. She recognized his potential when everyone else, even his own wife, had been blind to it. In one interview, Lucy said something that made Olivia's chest tighten with pain. When someone's dreams can make the world better, and you want nothing more than to help bring those dreams to life, that's love. Real love doesn't ask, "What can you give me?" It asks, "How can we build something beautiful together?" That night, Olivia couldn't sleep. Restless, she went to her closet and pulled out an old box she had kept hidden away. Inside was her diary from 3 years ago, the months leading up to her divorce. With trembling hands, she turned the pages and read her own words. March 15th. Daniel spent another evening talking about building schools in villages. I told him to be realistic. We can barely afford rent in Lagos, and he wants to educate all of Nigeria? I need a man with practical goals. April 2nd. Lucy thinks Daniel's ideas are inspiring. She says he has the heart of a leader. But hearts don't pay for designer clothes or nice cars. I need security, not dreams. May 10th. Had dinner with Richard today. He owns 4 companies and a house in Ikoyi. This is the kind of man who can give me the life I deserve. If Lucy thinks Daniel is so wonderful, she can have him. The last entry was the hardest to read. May 20th. Told Daniel I'm leaving him. Lucy tried to stop me, saying I was making a mistake. She said Daniel loves me more than life itself, and that his dreams would come true if someone believed in him. I told her dreams don't buy happiness. Money does. Olivia closed the diary and wept. Her own words had foretold everything. Lucy hadn't stolen Daniel. Olivia had pushed him into her arms through her own blindness and selfishness. 2 months later, Olivia's worst fear came true. She was having lunch with a client at a high-end restaurant in Victoria Island when she saw them across the room. Daniel and Lucy sat surrounded by ministers, businessmen, and international delegates. People congratulated them, shook their hands, and posed for photos. Lucy, glowing in her pregnancy, looked radiant, while Daniel carried himself like a king among his people. Lucy noticed Olivia first. Despite everything, she smiled warmly and walked over. "Olivia?" Her voice was gentle, free of anger or bitterness. "How are you?" Daniel followed. His eyes held no hatred, no sorrow, only calm. "Hello, Olivia," he said simply. "You look well." Olivia tried to speak but could only whisper, "Congratulations. Your success is amazing." "We've been blessed," Daniel replied, slipping an arm around Lucy's shoulders. "God has been good to us." For the first time, Olivia understood he meant every word. He wasn't angry. He wasn't trying to make her jealous. He was simply happy, completely happy without her. And that hurt more than any anger ever could. 6 months later, Olivia saw the announcement that shattered her last fragile hope. Twins. Daniel and Lucy had welcomed twin boys, Isaiah and Emmanuel. The photos showed Daniel weeping with joy as he cradled his sons for the first time. Lucy, though tired, looked radiant, surrounded by family and friends who had flown in from across the world to celebrate. The foundation announced that the twins' birth had inspired a new campaign, the Double Hope Initiative, a mission to build 100 new schools across Nigeria and Ghana. International donors had already pledged millions. Olivia stared at the photos for hours. What Daniel and Lucy had built wasn't just love, it was legacy. A kingdom of purpose, service, and hope. Daniel hadn't merely become successful, he had become great. And Lucy hadn't just married him, she had helped him step fully into the king he was always meant to be. Meanwhile, Olivia's own marriage was crumbling. Richard came home later and later, with whispers circulating that he was seeing his secretary. Their conversations had shrunk into arguments about money and appearances. Everything Olivia once thought she wanted had turned to dust in her hands. 1 year later, Olivia made a decision that shocked everyone who knew her. She filed for divorce from Richard. As she signed the papers in her lawyer's office, she finally understood the truth it had taken her 4 years to learn. Lucy had never stolen her crown. Olivia had thrown it away. Daniel had always been a king, a man with vision, purpose, and love. But a king needs a queen who can see his crown even when it's invisible to everyone else. Lucy had been that queen. With her faith, her sacrifice, and her unwavering belief in his dreams, she had polished Daniel's crown until the whole world could see it shine. Olivia, on the other hand, had looked at Daniel and seen only a struggling teacher. Lucy had looked at the same man and seen a future leader who would change thousands of lives. The difference was never in Daniel. The difference was in their eyes. Now, as Olivia began again, this time choosing to build something meaningful instead of chasing empty wealth, she carried with her the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes the person you walk away from becomes someone else's greatest treasure. Yet she also carried hope. Because if Lucy could see a crown where others saw nothing, perhaps Olivia could learn to see with those same eyes. Perhaps it wasn't too late to find her own purpose, her own way to make the world better. The crown she had lost was gone forever. But if she opened her heart and her eyes, maybe, just maybe, she could earn a new one. Friends, if you were Olivia, what choice would you have made? Love and vision or wealth and comfort? Drop your answer in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this powerful story. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.